So we're going to be talking about energy and some of our energy sources. So when we're talking about energy, we are very familiar with a specific type of energy, and those are going to be our fossil fuels. So our fossil fuels are going to be coming from our petroleum, our natural gas, and our coal. Okay, so let's write that down. These are going to be our petroleum, coal, and natural gas. Okay, and so our fossil fuels are coming from the remains of organisms that are millions and millions of years old. So they're coming from the remains of organisms and so that are millions of years old. Millions of years, that's important. Okay, and so the reason this is important, the fact that they're millions of years old, is over time they're breaking down and they're turning into carbon. And so what we are taking from each of these sources is we are taking these carbon bonds. And carbon bonds have lots and lots of energy stored in them. And so when you break them by heating them, lots and lots of energy is released. So we get lots of energy from our fossil fuels, but some of the problems that we have with our fossil fuels, some of the negative things we're having, non-renewable. Okay, so one of the problems is they're non-renewable. We only have a limited supply, and it takes a very, very long time for it to regenerate itself. So if we're using it at a rate faster than it can regenerate itself, we'll eventually run out. Okay? Another thing is the potential for something like an oil spill. Okay? And you think about when you have an oil spill, that is something that shouldn't naturally be in an environment or an ecosystem. And so when it gets into it, it is going to start affecting all the different organisms that are in that environment. And as a result, we're going to start having a decrease in biodiversity. We talked about it earlier. Biodiversity is a good thing. Okay, another thing is when we are drilling or mining, for our fossil fuels, we are destroying habitats. Okay. In order to access these three things, we need to get down into the surface of the earth. And in order to do so, we need to clear away some area, and we need to, in the process, destroy some habitats. And when you're destroying habitats, you're also decreasing biodiversity. Okay, and then the final thing is you are releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Okay, and so we talked about the effect that carbon dioxide has on our atmosphere in the past unit, so we'll keep going for now. So, fossil fuels. Lots and lots of energy comes from them, but it's at a cost. Non-renewable can have some things happening as we're trying to get these energy sources, and then finally, when we're actually burning them and trying to get the energy out of our carbon bonds, we end up putting carbon dioxide out into the atmosphere. So, these are what we call the non-renewable energy sources. And then we also have what we call the renewable energy sources. Okay. And renewable is referring to the fact that it can be regenerated very quickly. And so there are a couple different ones we're going to talk about. And so, first one is going to be nuclear energy. Okay, and so when we are doing nuclear energy, we are taking uranium and we are breaking it down, and in the process we are getting lots and lots of energy. So we're performing nuclear fission in a laboratory. And so the thing is, it's good because it gives us lots and lots of energy. So let's write down positive things. Lots of energy. Okay? So nuclear energy is a very good thing because of that. Another thing is that we're not producing any air pollution. transforming this nuclear fission, or this nuclear energy that we were trying to get in a factory, we're not ending up with any air pollution. But some of the problems that we are ending up with, the negatives, are that it takes very long for this energy source to be replenished. So it's not exactly as renewable as some of our other alternative energy sources that we can talk about. The second thing that we end up with is we end up with radioactive waste that we need to somehow dispose of. Okay, so nuclear energy is a renewable energy source and it's an alternative to our fossil fuels. Okay, so our next one is going to be solar energy. Okay, and solar energy is going to be coming from the sun. Okay, so we're going to use our solar panels. We'll use our solar cells to collect this energy. Okay, so one of the positives that we have with this, the fact that no pollution, it's clean, it's safe, those are all good things. That makes it a great alternative. However, one of the problems that we have with it is the fact that limited availability. We would only be able to collect it during the daytime, and in certain places, if you're getting further and further away from the equator, they're not receiving very much sunlight, so it's only an appropriate alternative energy if it is close to a place, close to the equator, where we're receiving lots and lots of energy. So solar energy, energy from the sun, okay? The next one is going to be hydroelectric. Okay, hydro. Break that down. Hydro means water, okay? So we're getting it from water, okay? And so some reasons this hydroelectric is good. It's also very clean. It's also very safe. So once again, we get clean and safe. Also, in order to get this energy, we are making dams in order to store our water and have it fall from high to low and get the energy that way. So when we are doing that, dams are good because they help us control flooding. So, okay. But one of the problems with this is going to be the fact that making a dam disrupts the natural habitat. So, in disrupting the natural habitat, we are decreasing our biodiversity. Okay, so the next one that we are going to talk about is going to be wind energy, okay? And so wind energy is great because once again, it is clean, it is safe. We are not putting anything out into the atmosphere. Okay, however, some of the problems associated with our windmills, which we are using to collect our alternative energy, is the fact that it's not very nice to look at. So it's not aesthetically pleasing. Okay. The second thing is it can pose a risk to certain organisms in the environment, such as birds that are flying might get caught in it. So it can be dangerous for birds. Okay, let's see. Another one is we have biomass, okay? And so biomass is burning the remains of plants that have not gotten to the point of forming fossil fuels yet. So still lots and lots of energy that we can get from burning these plants. And we're not releasing as much carbon into the atmosphere, but it's not really as cost effective. So less CO2, but kind of expensive. Okay. And then finally, our our last one is we have geothermal. So last one, geothermal. Geothermal is when we're getting energy from beneath the surface of the earth. We've talked about, when we talked about the lithosphere, how there's lots and lots of heat beneath the surface of the earth. So we're able to harvest some of that energy and use it to our advantage. But problem with that is it takes very long for it to regenerate itself naturally. So it's kind of similar to our nuclear energy, where it's more renewable than our fossil fuels, but it doesn't regenerate itself as quickly as our solar energy or our water or our wind. So, geothermal, less CO2. It's more clean than some of the others, but also not regenerating. Okay, so those are our renewable or alternative energies in comparison to our fossil fuels or our non-renewable energy. Okay?